All right, now we're back for episode 2. Let's figure out what we want to do about the rest of the board. So pretty much the inside of the board. I'm not going to worry so much about the sorry parts or where you place your card decks, but let's worry about these squares. And let's make sure that we keep our other image up for reference because we may need it. So let's do this. Since all these squares should approximately be the same size, let's duplicate some. So I've selected one square. I'm going to Control D. Line it up just right, make sure it bumps. Is it going to bump? Now the hard part is it's going to want to line up with other squares, so let's zoom in, really make sure that we're lining this up properly. And I think we are. Double check one more time. You can never be too careful. Yeah, this looks pretty good. Let's go for it. And we'll do the same thing. And notice we are getting a little off of our axis here. That's okay. As long as our end result looks good, it doesn't have to exactly match the board, which we've already determined is slightly slanted, or whoever took the picture did not take it perfectly overhead. So bump, looks good. Another bump. Right here. Looks pretty good. Another bump. Alright, and we have bumped. I think this is all good. Another trick that we can use is we can select all of these squares here, and if we two-finger click or right-click, we can align horizontally, make sure everything is all centered in relation to each other. So we align all this stuff, so now that these are perfect. They should have been already because we have our red lines to guide us, but in case they weren't, they are now. This is probably perfectly in line. There we go, perfectly in line with that square, which is what I want. Beautiful. Doesn't get much better than that. Now let's go ahead and take a look here back at this. We probably should have done one of these squares with a smaller blue square in the middle. Yeah, oh well, that was my bad. Let's do it. Let's do another shape. Do another square that's like slightly smaller than this other square. Shapes. Oh, you know what? I take it back. Take your mouse, get one of these squares, Control D to duplicate it. And so then what I'm going to do is let's make it just slightly smaller. Up here, my 3 dots, I have I have format options. This may already be on your top toolbar, but if it's not, it's hidden under these 3 dots. So format options, I want size and rotation. And let's do width scale. Let's turn both of these numbers from 100 into 90. And as you see, as I type these numbers in, they change the size of the square. So now when I drag this here, right in the middle, it should be like a square within a square. It looks like 90 is not close enough. As I click and drag and move things, the new width scale reverts back to 100%. So let's do another 90 and another 90. Line it up right in the middle of both of these. I think it's going to be tough. There we go, right in the middle. This looks pretty good. Let's use our other board for reference. Yeah, in fact, ours is even maybe just a little too small, but I'm not going to worry about it too much. So now what we're going to do is we're going to match this color. I'm not going to go crazy about matching the color exactly. We could if we wanted to, but that would require you to go get a new Google extension and all that stuff, and frankly, this is already going to take enough time as it is. So let's find a nice light blue that's close enough to this one for us to be happy. So get your fill color. Let's kind of figure out which one of these is close. I'm thinking maybe this one, a dark blue one. And maybe one shade lighter. I'm happy with that. I think that's pretty close. Let's go for it. So let's remember what this color is called. So let's click on our square again. This is light blue one. Go figure. Okay. And so then we're just going to do the same thing we did with those other squares. Control D, duplicates. Let's line it up. This one's a little off center. Let's bring it down just a little bit. It's close enough for me. Duplicate, same thing. And I know I could be doing these 2 at a time if I want to, but sometimes the more efficient way is not necessarily the fastest way. Bring this up a little bit. Come on. I might have to hold down my shift key and bump this up just a little bit. Cool. Same thing, Control D. Line it up. Now the thing I want to do, zoom out just ever so slightly. Now, I can't select all of these, otherwise it's going to get my top blue squares and my bottom gray ones. So I'm going to click my blue, hold down my shift key, get my other blue, while I'm still holding down shift, make sure I get all my blues. 2-finger click or right click. Align horizontally in the center. I'm happy with that. And while they're all selected, I can maybe drag it just to get that red line that I want so bad. I think we're good. This looks great. Now let's go ahead and build this part. And you may realize that what I'm gonna do is I'm going to do the blue one and then just move it over here to the yellow one and change all the colors to yellow and then to green and then to red. This one's gonna be weird because we have to build this upside down. So let's do that. Let's zoom in. We have essentially 2 or 3 shapes here. We've got a circle. We may consider that we also have an inner black circle, and we have this 6-point star. So let's figure out how I want to do this. Let's get a circle, get a shape, get a circle. I don't really know how to match a shape size like this. So if you want to think about it, think of an imaginary square around this circle. And what I want to do is I want to click and hold right here at the bottom corner of this imaginary square. And before I move, I'm going to hold down my shift key. And I'll show you why you want to hold down your shift key. If I don't hold down my shift key, my circle has a lot of freedom to move around. But as soon as I hold down my shift key and I start moving, it fixes it to a perfect circle. And by perfect, I mean it is just as wide as it is long. And so now I can get pretty close to the size of this circle right here. And I let go, and I feel pretty good about that actually. Let's go ahead and line this up as best as we can. Let's make it a dark black outline. Change the size to 2 pixels. And I'm pretty close. And if I do get my red line to line up with my other squares, that makes me happy too. What I might do is I might change my width scale under my format options again, but just ever so slightly bigger. So maybe 102 by 102. Get that red line again, line it up in the middle. Hold down my shift key and move the arrows ever so slightly. There we go, I can see the background circle and just kind of line that up there. That's pretty good, I think. All right, go us. Let's go back to our other board for reference. I do want that black background though. I'm not so worried about the white outside of the star here, but I am worried about a sort of grayish circle with a dark circle in the middle. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my circle, Control D duplicates it. Gonna bring my width scale down to, let's say 95 by 95. Gonna fill this black. I'm gonna drag it to line up right in the middle of that other circle. This one's gonna be tough because I want to align to all sorts of other items. So I might have to just get a middle, like an up and down red line like this, hold down the shift key and then press my arrows until I get something really close. Looks like 95 wasn't enough. Let's try another 5% down. Try and line that up in the middle again. All right, I think we did it. That's pretty good. Back over to our board. Now we need, you know what we can do? We can do 1 star white and 1 star blue, and it'll get us that outline that I think we want. So let's do that. Let's get the shape. Not sure where those stars are. Oh, here we go. It's under callouts. So 4-point star, 5-point star, 6-point star. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a perfect one. So shift, click, hold, drag, and I'm not worried about the size just yet. It does come out the way I want it to in terms of color though, which is good. Let's play around with it. You know, a lot of graphic design is playing around. I kind of want this point to touch right there. I'm gonna drag it down here, make sure that point touches, drag it all the way across, make sure those points touch, and drag over here, make sure those points touch. That looks pretty good to me. Let's change our outline to dark black like we normally do. Let's go back to our reference here. Yeah, unfortunately there's going to be like a little overlap on this star with this circle, but once again, not concerned with being perfect. I'm more concerned with being done eventually. Perfect is the enemy of done. That works well enough for me. So what I'll do is I will Control D, duplicate that, bring the width scale down to about 90%. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring this right in the middle here, and we're going to change it to that color, light blue 1. Looks like I can move it up just a little bit. Shift and then an up arrow 1, light blue 1. Perfect. Now, one cool thing about slides with the shapes, you can double click, make sure your caps lock is on, or you want to, actually first and foremost, you want to make sure that this text is aligned in the center. I want to type a capital Home. Maybe highlight and bring that font size down a little bit, so it all fits on one line. 13, 12, 11, there we go, that's what I want. Maybe change this to a font that's more appealing. You can pick the font, I don't care. Whatever works for you. If you like the font the way it is, that's fine. I like this one too. This one's called Brie Serif. Maybe I could even make this one bigger, go back up to 12. Yep, 13, yep. How far can I push this? 13, maybe 13.5? Nope, 13 is as much as I can get. Now, unlike our reference board, this is upside down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click my star, right click or two finger click, and I'm going to rotate 90 degrees, and I'll rotate another 90 degrees in the same direction, and we are in business. We did it. So that's pretty awesome. And that is one side of our board just about done. We haven't done this start circle here. We will though, but probably not right now. I'm actually just really happy with the victory that we've gotten this part of our board done. And once we are done with that, we will move on to the next portion of our board in the next video. We'll probably do this circle. Up here, it'll be the circle, it'll be this arrow right there, it'll be this slide portion right there, and maybe this arrow as well, because if everything goes well, I can just select all of these items, copy it, and then rotate and make them yellow, rotate, make them green, rotate, make it red. So that concludes part 2. Pretty good work so far.